Hello, everyone. This is Lena Juarez with the Florida Agritourism Association, and this is our July 2024 webinar, our educational webinar that we try to bring to you as our awesome members. And today we have a very special guest and one of our board members, Pam Hund, who is making the presentation. Pam is the founder and owner and operator of Tree House Vero Beach. Treehouse is a wedding venue nestled on a lychee farm and tropical palm tree farm, obviously in Vero Beach. And she and her husband Jake have added agritourism to this beautiful tropical farm about 3.5 years ago, and which has completely scaled their family business up, of course. She does all the marketing for Treehouse, and she's here to share what she's learned. So with that, Pam, I pass it off to you
Thank you, Hannah.
for housekeeping purposes, and Sarah will be monitoring the chat box for any questions that we
Yeah,
will share and ask with Pam. So
it's
take it
great.
away, Pam.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm so happy to talk about Instagram with you all. Like Lena said, I've kind of developed a lot of these processes just by trial and error. So I love sharing what I've learned. So I'd love for this to be really conversational. I'm hoping that you can see my face as I'm talking and my PowerPoint. Can you see my face?
No,
I
I see your
can.
PowerPoint.
Sarah, you see my face?
I can.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Let's see if I can.
I can see your face, Pam.
Oh, thank you. I just feel like it's more conversational. But anyway,
There you are. Okay.
um, I'd love for you to pop in and ask questions as I am talking. So I want it to be, very conversational. That way I can answer, your needs that you have. So feel free to ask me a question anytime. And then also, I'd love for you to enter your Instagram handle in the chat and then write what you do. So tell me what kind of agritourism business you have. And then I may be able to, say what I'm saying directed at other types of businesses rather than just wedding venues. So go ahead and put in the chat your Instagram handle and then what your agritourism business is. Or you can say it. I don't see anybody typing. You pick sunflowers. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Valerie. Good question, Sarah. Does anyone currently use Instagram or are you all new to Instagram? Oh, a goat. We offer goat yoga and animal assisted programs. Awesome. Thank you, Corinne. Okay. Kish is yes, he's using Instagram. Downward goat. I love that name. Very catchy. Jimmy Mix Farm. All right, so we have a U-Pick farm, we have some goats, and we have a new to Instagram. Well, thank you for joining. Okay, I'll go ahead and get into um, some logistics. Okay, so how often do you need to post for Instagram? Some people say that you have to post every day, and I don't think that's true. The head of Instagram currently recommends that you post 1 to 2 stories per day and just a couple of posts per week. So I do 2 to 3 posts per week. Okay, we have a U-Pick and a wedding venue, 3 venues, and Instagram. All right, thank you. Rockin' Ranch, Palm City. But I would say for posting, consistency is key. So wherever you're at, in your life, I wouldn't want you to burn yourself out. So if you only have time to do 2 to 3 posts per week, I think you should feel very confident about that. Does anyone have any questions about consistency of posting? Yes, Sarah, I will explain the difference between a story and a post. Okay. So, on your main feed, you're going to have your posts. So they are a picture or a reel that's going to last forever. So anytime someone looks up your Instagram handle, they can go to your profile and see your in-feed posts forever. And then stories are something that disappear. So they're only live for 24 hours. And it's more of like a behind the scenes, just like really quick little snapshot. And stories are only visible to your followers, whereas your profile or your in-feed posts are visible to everybody. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay. All right, so content pillars. So this is what you're going to be talking about on your Instagram profile. So I highly recommend that you get your niche like super specific. And within your niche, don't talk about more than 3 to 5 topics. So these are the 3 to 5 things that you want to consistently discuss or create your content for. And there's different ways that you can come at, presenting your content. I do a lot of education, but you could try to educate, entertain people, really just go hard at like promoting what it is that you sell, or be more inspiring. But I think that this depends on your personality and what you're good at. And then I wanted to talk about carousels. Okay, so a carousel is a post that has more than one picture. So it's a still photo, it has more than one picture, and you can kind of take your finger and like slide through to see them all. Instagram really wants you to put at least 3 slides, and they really do want you to put still photos. So for a while, people were only posting reels, and Instagram has come out and said, no, we still want you to do still photos. And so they recommend that you put at least 3 or more. And the reason for that is when a user is on the search tab, they might see, your slide number 1 picture. And if they don't click on it, then maybe the next time that they're browsing, Instagram would show them slide number 2 or slide number 3 as like the front picture to try and grab your attention. So they definitely recommend that you do a carousel, so a few different pictures rather than just one picture. Right now, sends are ranking the highest to get you some action. And that is the little, looks like a little airplane. So they want users to send your post to someone. So I recommend adding a call to action at the end. So like, who do you want to go pick sunflowers with, for example? Send this to the friend that you would love to come pick flowers with, or send this to a friend who's engaged, or, a call to action at the end of your caption of getting them to hit that send button. Does anyone have any questions about carousels or um, posts or call to actions? You can type it in the chat, or you can just jump out and say it.
Pam, can you give us an example of a call to action other than sending to your friend to go see the sunflowers?
Sure. Okay, let's see. Um, so let's say you're giving, let me think of an example. Um, so this is one thing that I do is I follow marketing Instagram people, and they give you like a million free examples just to copy. So it could be like share with a friend, or send this to your mom, or the person who comes up first is who you want to go traveling with, or yeah, it could just be like anything, just really quick and easy to get them to like think of someone who they would want to share that post with, if
So it's
that's
almost like
helpful.
an invitation, like to
Yeah.
you can have a promo for your upcoming agritourism activity on X
Yeah.
day and
Send this to
okay.
your bestie, or send this to
Yeah.
your husband, or whatever, just making it personal where they yes, I will. Yeah. So you want to you want them to like engage with your profile in any way, but there's lots of ways people can engage, and so engaging with the share button is like the most popular right now. But you could also call to action like save this post for later was a good one
Oh,
that people
wow.
do.
Okay, great.
And yes to Corinne, I will provide these slides, of course, after the session. But please ask me questions because it helps for me to know where you're at. There's a lot of information. So, all right, let's talk about Reels. Okay, so Reels are videos and they're in your feed. So they're going to be on your profile forever. They don't disappear. And you always want to do your reels in a vertical orientation. So when you hold your, let's say you're using your iPhone, you want to hold it vertical to take a reel. And so that's going to fill the whole frame. If you take a video horizontally, then you're going to have two black lines in your video and it just doesn't look as professional. Um, so yeah, always do vertical orientation for reels. Um, Secondly, I recommend that you turn your volume off, and you do not have to do this while you're taking the video. Just take your video like and say whatever you want, whatever background noise is fine. But when you post the reel, you're going to hit the volume thing and do camera audio off so that there's no like weird background noise. And then you're going to overlay music. And so this is a really cool tool where when you press the music thing, you can search trending audio. And trending audio is like some people will be on Instagram and they search Instagram through a specific song. So let's say it's like a certain type of song that they love and they keep watching reels that have this song to it, if that makes sense. Or it could be a certain genre of music. Like if people love reggae music, then Instagram might send them a lot more reels that have reggae music. So these trending audios are already given to you. So I highly recommend putting that to your reels. You'll get tons of looks like that. Um,
So, Pam,
yeah.
this music is proprietary to Instagram. Like you don't have to worry about finding it elsewhere on another app or
Right. It comes with it. And if you want to have your profile settings on a professional account, and so it'll only give you the option to use the music that's already been licensed. And so you don't have to worry about adding it through a different app or on your computer or anything. It's just like super fast. And they also want you to build your reels inside the Instagram app. So a reel that you add their music on and you do your editing and stuff in your iPhone is going to be better than one that you make on your computer and drop in, if that makes sense.
yes. Now, if
So,
you have your own music, like let's say maybe you want to add your own stuff, is there a way to incorporate that in your reel?
oh yeah. Yeah, you can totally add your own music, and I love doing voiceovers.
Okay.
So you can do a voiceover and talk and say whatever you want, and that's really trendy right now too.
Okay.
Um, Corinne asks, does sharing stories that other people tag us in help? Yes. If anyone ever shares a story with you in it, you always share it again. So we'll talk about that, about tagging each other soon. But any kind of interaction you get from other profiles, you want to interact back. So if somebody has a story of you, you reshare it. Or if somebody comments on your post, then you write back to them on their comment. More.
Okay. Pam, I have one more question about the
Yeah,
reels.
I love the questions.
Sometimes when I'm on Instagram, I notice that the reels have it's almost like closed caption. And sometimes it goes with, if it's timed correctly, it does match the person's
Yeah.
mouth, and other
Yes.
times it doesn't. And then there's sometimes interesting fonts or colors or
Yes.
background light. And so do you recommend that, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love the text to talk because it's proven that people are just like gravitated towards words. And when there's words going as you're talking, it's just so eye-catching. So I highly recommend that. And that's all in your app. So when you're doing a reel, it's very intuitive. And so there's literally a button that will say text to talk, and it'll come up with the text for you. And so, like how you're saying, sometimes it matches perfectly and sometimes it doesn't. After you do your voiceover, you can go back and edit the words to make sure that they match perfectly, but it's very time inclusive. So some people just let it fly if it's not exact, like it's like whatever. But that's all in the Instagram app, and same with the different fonts. And my opinion on the different fonts is to pick one, maybe two that goes with your branding and use those same ones every time so it looks cohesive. Okay, let's see. Okay, stories. So stories, you're supposed to put 1 to 2 per day. That's kind of a lot, but don't let it overwhelm you because stories are just way more casual. BTS means behind the scenes. So a lot of people put BTS for their stories. So it's like I could take a video of me talking on the computer right now, I probably will, and use that as BTS. It's a good thing to just throw up on the stories. Again, your stories disappear, so no one's going to like be able to look back and really decipher everything that happened. And it's for your followers who are already following your account. So it's more of like a personal conversation or relationship where they get to know you better. There's also an option on your stories to get people to engage with you. So you can add questions, you can add a poll, you can add links, you can add funny stickers. There's like a million different things. It's all inside the app. And I highly recommend doing the questions, the polls, and the links. So people can click right on your story to like be directed. So let's say you're doing a U pick for the sunflowers on Saturday and you want to give them your address or whatever. You can link your address right there. And so while they're looking at the story, they can click on it and get your address and they're already on their way type thing. So, um, anyways, back to stories. Yeah, you don't have to worry as much about getting like high quality shots. It's just really quick stuff.
What would you
Um,
ask?
yeah,
What
go
would you
ahead.
poll about? Like, what would a poll be about?
Okay, so let's say you're growing two different varieties of sunflowers. You could be like, which one do you like better? Which one turned out better? Or which one are you buying? Or which one are you bringing home to your wife? Or, just like any kind of silly little question or poll. Um, yeah, good question. Thank you. Okay, so stories also, you want to tag a lot of people. So I think I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Yeah, I'll talk about the tagging people later. So next I want to talk about writing captions, and I feel that like maybe captions could be overwhelming to people. And just know that Instagram is more of a visual platform. So people are there to see the videos and the pictures. They're really not there to read as much. So don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to write like really, really, really long captions. Very few people, I would say, actually read them. But for someone who's struggling, I would say find a couple accounts in your industry that you love and then copy them. Like copy the type of things that they say. Obviously, you don't want to copy someone's caption, but um, the second thing is you can make an evergreen sort of template that's good for your business. So I included a template that I use a lot, and you can see just by changing a few words, I could use this caption every single day. So this gorgeous September wedding or October wedding or tropical wedding or garden wedding, just changing that one word gave us all the feels, and it included these beautiful flowers. Congratulations. It included this amazing catering or this awesome DJ or this beautiful band or whatever. So it's like this template that you can reuse over and over and over, and it still applies to most of what you do. And then I would also say planning ahead with captions, because sometimes when you feel like you have to post, you're just kind of brain dead and nothing's coming to you. It's helpful to be able to refer back to whenever you did have a creative moment. So what I do is if I'm like, driving in my car and I'm getting all these good captions in my head, then I'll pull over, I'll write them all down in my notes on my phone. And then at a later time, I can go back to them as an idea for a post or just to copy paste and throw into something really quickly. I put the name of, you see that Maha Copy Co right there. This Instagram handle. That is someone that I love following that gives tons of free captions. So you can do that template thing where you just like insert the words that you need. Super helpful, but there's a ton of accounts like that where you can get free ideas. Does anyone have questions about how to write captions? Okay. Okay, event day content. So we are already doing like a million things on event days. And so it's really hard, but it's so important to get content when your big things are happening. So some of the things I do on wedding days or event days or you pick days or whatever is I just record myself. I have a tripod, so if I want to get like a big angle, I'll put my phone on my tripod and I'll turn the video on. I'll walk away and leave it for like 20 minutes and go back to it later. And then I can use that video to like chop up into smaller videos. Another thing I have is called an Octo Buddy. Can you see my phone? It's like these little suction cups on the back of your phone case. And I will stick my phone on like the side of the golf cart or the side of a bucket or a window or a door or whatever. And so that's super useful for hands-free. Just stick it to something, set on a time lapse or a video, and then keep doing what you're doing. And then you can always use like a pile of books or whatever to prop it up. So vendors. So we work with a lot of vendors on event days, and so anytime you work with a vendor, you should always tag them. So we talked about how you're going to tag them in their stories, and then it's just common knowledge. If you get shared in a story, then that person shares it to all their followers. So, like, let's say the florist is coming, I take a picture of her flowers, I tag her. When she gets home, she's going to share it to her stories, and then all of her followers could potentially find Treehouse. And I would say that if you don't work with vendors, you could do that with just whoever you're interacting with. So, let's say you have a U Pick festival and there's Susan there to pick flowers, and you ask her like, "Hey Susan, do you mind if I snap a picture of you? What's your Instagram handle?" You can tag her and then she'll share it to her family and friends. So you could do it with like any people that you interact with or brands. Um, and so, yeah, when you do have a big event, you want your stories to really flow. So you could do like 30 stories in a day and it's not too much. So you want your audience to really like get, feel the buzz of activity. So if they missed the big event, but they saw how fun it was and they saw all these cool videos, then they would probably be more enticed to come to the next one. Or like with weddings, they can really get a feel of what a true event day is like behind the scenes. So I highly recommend just doing like a bazillion stories on event days or when something cool's, something is coming ripe. You have a baby cow born. So just something really cool, like let the stories flow. Okay, we have a couple questions. So how do you spell what's on my phone? It's called Octo Buddy, like an octopus. So Octo Buddy. And that's from Amazon. And then, do you have any advice relating to hashtags? Is there any harm in having a lot of hashtags? Great question, Lori. So yes, I have advice on hashtags. What you're going to do as you post is I always put my hashtags in a comment below my post. So it's not integrated in my post. It's myself commenting on my own post, and it still attaches those hashtags to your post. So the benefit of this is that you can do it later. So like say I did a post a week ago, I could go back today and make a comment and do all my hashtags. So I tend to batch hashtagging, and as you start to type your hashtag, like you type hashtag and then Florida wedding, and then Instagram is going to automatically populate the popular hashtags. So you never want to do a hashtag that you just like came up with in your mind and it has 0 followers. So you want to pick ones that have like several thousand. So if I see as I type Florida wedding, I could see that Florida wedding has like 100,000 followers and Florida Weddings with an S has like 200,000 followers, then I'm going to pick the Florida Weddings with the higher number. So that's how I pick my hashtag. There's no harm in having too many hashtags. I think Instagram will limit you. If you do way too many, it'll tell you like, okay, you're cut off. And then the most important thing is once I get a good batch of hashtags on a comment, I copy it, I select all, copy, and put it in a notes folder on my phone. So then the next time I'm doing hashtags, I just copy paste. I could put the same exact hashtags there and I don't have to do all that searching all over again. That makes sense. Any more questions about hashtags? I love hashtags. I think they're a really, really cool way to get new followers and people who are in your niche that, could live like all over the state or whatever, especially with flower farming. I've made like a huge community that way. Okay. So finally, I think I'm on my last 2 slides. I want to talk about growing your audience organically versus paying for ads. So the first is growing your audience organically, and that's what I did. I've never paid for any ads, just because I can't afford it or I feel like I can't. And I'm more of like a sweat equity type of a girl, and I have the time, whatever. So, I would say that, um, the most important things for getting your audience organically is number one is to stick to your niche. So you want your brand to look cohesive and you don't want to sway from your niche. So even if you're getting bored of talking about goats for the millionth time, like you can't get bored of it. You just have to keep hammering that point. So whatever your elevator pitch is, that is what you're posting about for years. Okay. Don't get bored of it. Post consistently. And number two, I would say tag everybody, tag all your colleagues, all your vendors, all the people who come and interact with you, tag everybody, because that's how, grassroots followings are going to go. Also you'll start to have like a relationship and get to know the people who interact with you and your brand or your service. And then the hashtags, which I just talked about, but I think they're super, super important for narrowing down people who are specifically interested in your niche. Okay, so paying for ads would be the other option. And I would recommend paying for ads if, number one, you feel like you just have no skill and there's no way you could ever learn this. Number two, if you have no time at all. Number three, if you're not interested at all, which I totally get. So if you're going to pay for ads, I would recommend that you come up with content that is evergreen. So that means that it's still going to be applicable years later. It's like your primo marketing pictures. It's a video that is still going to be good no matter what time of year it is. You just use it over and over and over the same exact post. I would think about, the cost of paying for the ads versus your time. So like how much are you personally worth? Or let's say you're the one posting, whoever the person is that's doing the Instagram, you want to think about how much is that person worth. So if you could be doing something else with your time and you can make $150 an hour, or you could spend an hour on Instagram just fumbling around, then I would highly recommend just paying $20 for an ad, and then you're winning because you're making more money for yourself. So really a time versus money thing. And if you do decide to go that route, you can also pay for a content creator. Content creators are like everywhere now. There's a ton of young kids coming out of college who are just like super apt at it, and they will make you tons of content for pretty cheap. So I would totally look into that if you think that, you're not interested in doing it. Um, does anyone have any questions? Are you feeling inspired, overwhelmed? I'd love to have you follow us on Treehouse so that we can interact some more. So, I have Treehouse Vero Beach is our like wedding niche, and then I have Treehouse Cut Flowers is my cut flower farm. The reason I do two is so that I don't confuse people between farming and brides. So, I'd love for you to follow us. And I wrote down the Instagram handles that I saw, but please put your Instagram handle in the chat, or send me a DM so we can see each other. Does anyone have more questions?
I am working on following you right now, Pam. This
You
is
don't
amazing.
follow me already?
Well, I'm talking about following you on my personal Instagram. So
We follow you, Pam.
the association follows everybody, so we
Okay,
can't wait to see more additions after this webinar. Uh,
yeah,
I'm feeling very inspired. I can imagine that many of you may be feeling overwhelmed, but this is probably a reason that you decided to join us today
yeah,
for this webinar to kind of understand what Instagram is all about. And it's such a great tool, particularly to increase revenues and attendance at any of the agritourism activities you have.
yeah,
And kind of going back to why you have two separate ones, it makes perfect sense because you have two different audiences.
yeah. And like my dad sells lychees wholesale to, different markets and stuff. So I don't have an Instagram about that because he doesn't need an Instagram for that. But like I'll show it a little bit on my accounts, but I don't want to go like too far off of the niche. So it's
Right.
really hard to like dumb it down almost. And as farmers, we're used to like doing so many millions of things. Like we're fixing the gate, like that could be kind of your stories, but it's not really like someone getting married. So you have to really like kind of walk a fine line, I think, to keep it professional. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to tell you guys is that Instagram is like it was my number one lead capture when I started. So our business is 3.5 years old, and Instagram was my highest capture. So whenever someone reaches out to Treehouse, I ask them how they found out about us, and Instagram was number one. So
I
that
believe it. I
it's
absolutely
really
believe that.
it's really important, and it also depends on your demographic. Like my demographic is I'm trying to get people who are getting married. They're probably going to be like in their 20s, and they use that platform a lot. So a lot of younger people use Instagram like instead of Google.
Right. Valerie is asking what type of information should we have in the description section
Oh,
for
great
Instagram?
question, Valerie. Okay, let me see. What do I have? Okay, so I have Treehouse Vero Beach as like the bold heading. So this is another thing. You want your name to be consistent everywhere. So Treehouse Vero Beach never deviates. It's just like that is the same exact header on everything you could ever see. And then below that, I describe what it is. So weddings and elevated events. And then it's my elevator pitch. It says Florida's hottest open air reception space, nestled amongst a tropical tree farm. And then I have the link to my website. So I recommend keeping your description really short and sweet. People do not want to read. Highly recommend putting your link there though, because that will take them right to your website. What are your thoughts on linking Facebook to Instagram so the same thing posts at the same time? Yes, 1000% yes to that one. So on Facebook, there's a Meta Business Suite, and so you can connect Instagram and Facebook. So anytime you post, it goes to both. Those are the two that I would link. If you're on other platforms like Pinterest, I would link as well. TikTok, I wouldn't link because there's a watermark, and I think it looks a little unprofessional to link those, but I definitely do Facebook and Instagram.
Mhm. And I would also like to suggest adding our Instagram at Florida Agritourism when you post because the
Yeah.
association has a statewide reach. So it
Mm.
would potentially bring in customers, clients from other parts of the state or
Yeah.
beyond. I mean, we have people following us in other states and countries too.
Yeah, totally. And if you're more of like a farm-based business, there's a way where you can add a calendar for like, let's say you're doing a U-Pick, you put a calendar right on your post and people can add it to their personal calendar. And that would be great for the agritourism, too, because you guys post everybody's like farm
Hmm.
days and such. Where's the calendar? Okay, let me see. Pretend like I'm making a post. A lot of this is just like very intuitive. So you just click. I personally just click around. All right, so let's see if you can hold my phone or see my phone. So I just put some pictures up and then clicked next. And then on the options, you can tag people or you can add reminder, it's called. It looks like a little calendar. It says add reminder. Then you can add that to your post and put the date and time and location.
That's great.
Yeah, it's just a matter of playing with it, I think. But feel free to reach out to me anytime through Instagram, and I'll help.
And for those of you that are coming to our conference in less than 2 weeks in Kissimmee, Pam will be there. She is on our board, as I mentioned earlier. And I know we have you doing many things. So lots of time to network.
Yes, for sure. I'd love to meet you all in person, so please come say hi. And I will follow you all today so that I know who you are. Oak Lane Weddings and Events. So
Okay.
Pam,
Well, if
Pam is
Kimberly,
going to share the slides with me, and I will forward that as well as the recording of today's webinar to everyone who registered.
thank you.
So there's one more question there. What if our business is seasonal? Should we post all year?
Great question. Yes, you should post all year. So flower farming is a good example. Like our flower field is dormant right now, but I have a bazillion pictures and photos. And so like as a flower farmer, some of the people in the industry will post things of like, oh, I'm dreaming of October when my flower field was full. Or they would post like a seed planting calendar, how they're like coming up with their plan of what they're going to order and what time they're going to order it. And so even in the off season, there's things that we do in our business that you can definitely post about, or you could just recycle whatever it is that happens in season and be like, I can't wait until season again.
that's great.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Okay. Well, thank you so much again, Pam. We'll see you. We'll see
Thank you.
everyone in less than 2 weeks in Kissimmee. And thank you. I learned a lot and I'm very inspired. Thank you again.
Thank you. Everybody have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.